Thanks so much for joining us on City Talk. I am Maria Sorreo, joined today by our Mayor Pro Tem, Anthony Misetich, and Dennis McLean. You are the Director of Finance and Information Technology. That is a long title, Dennis.
That it is, and thank you. It's
Thanks
nice to
for
be
being
here.
He wears it well.
He does wear it well,
Yes.
absolutely. We're going to talk about budgets because I know our fiscal year is almost here, and Dennis has been very busy getting everything ready. So, Dennis, kind of dive in and talk about what we're going through right now.
You know,
Process.
accountants have tax season, we have budget season.
Exactly.
And we're right at the midstream of it, and we're about to deliver a draft budget to the City Council.
Okay.
But it started a while ago.
Right.
The city is very fortunate. Unlike many cities throughout California, we've been able to deliver a balanced budget for the last several years, and we're hopeful that we can do the same this year.
Can you kind of expand upon that? Because I think that's a very good point, that we have been able to do this for a very long time when other cities are struggling.
Yeah. I'd like to think that the City Council, working with city staff, has employed a series of steps over the years that have really created best practices for fiscal management. For one, as a part of the process, we actually develop what we call a 5-year financial model. When we prepare the 5-year financial model that ultimately is reviewed by and hopefully approved by the City Council,
Right.
we look at revenue trends, generally property taxes and other revenue sources, and
Okay.
expenditure trends.
Okay.
We look backwards, we look forward, and we try to establish and look at those trends to help us build the budget and build a capital improvement program that is a part of the budget looking to the next year.
And how does the process work when you get the budget and you all have to look at it?
Well, let me just start off by saying that now that I've been on the council for about a year and a half, I've really realized how fiscally conservative our city is.
It is.
I, had a inkling of that when I served on the Finance Advisory Committee.
Okay.
And the Finance Advisory Committee looks at many of these things, the 5-year model, our capital expenditures, and then gives recommendations to the council
Okay.
through with the assistance of staff. So it's a process where we have citizens serving on the committee, then it goes to staff, and then staff presents it to the council.
Okay.
And so as far as the council, I must say that this council has been conservative
Okay.
in their fiscal management. We get a low percentage of property tax from property taxes collected, as far as revenues back to the city. So we have to be fiscally minded when we operate. And so I have to commend staff that they do a very, very good job in their analysis,
Okay.
in their financial projections. And and if we feel they don't, we do question them, and they do have very good answers too. So it's good to know that we're working with very competent people in this field, and I think that has been part of the reason why our city has done well, where other cities have not done so well.
Right, and I kind of wanted to bring up that we've been talking about grants recently. This city's been able to give out so many grants. How does that work, and how have we been able to do that successfely?
Well, I mean, we're fortunate to be able to do that.
Right, absolutely.
It's something where we have money set aside specifically for grants. It varies from year to year. Some
Okay.
years it's lower, some years it's a little bit. This year we've been able to give
give out
higher
more.
grants than we have in the past couple of years, and it's something that a lot of the nonprofits are very grateful for, that the city has been able to step up the plate and help them through a very difficult fiscal time.
Right.
Private for-profit companies are struggling. The nonprofits are struggling even more. So it's been something that we've been able to do. We just recently also helped out a capital project at Peninsula High School for their new pool.
Swimming pool, yeah.
We gave them a grant of $80,000, provided they meet certain criteria,
Right.
as far as raising money, and I think they're going to hit that. And so it's something that we're able to do. It's good for the community, and I want to thank again the staff for being able to manage it on a day-to-day basis, manage the
Right.
city on a day-to-day basis to enable us to do that.
Dennis, this is an ongoing process for you then. It's not something that you just sit down and overnight you're balancing a budget. What's the toughest part of your job?
Oh, I think the toughest
Working
part
with
of
the council.
Well, besides that.
Yeah, I think the most difficult thing, in this process is projecting out.
Okay.
Looking, we can look backwards as to the trends with revenues and expenditures, and but looking forward as to revenue trends and looking forward as to expenditure trends beyond 1 year, is difficult. Yet, we try to do so, and we use that 5-year financial model to guide the city council, guide us
Okay.
in using those trends to make decisions. They make the decisions. We offer recommendations as to, what to include in the budget, what to change about the budget,
Interesting.
especially as to programs where we have the opportunity to make changes. And I agree with the Mayor Pro Tem. He's right. We are fortunate, in my belief, that they're able to do something like provide, grants to some members of the community that give back. And I think one of the reasons we're able to do that, and I've used the word best practices, and I'm going to use it again, in addition to the evolution of the 5-year financial model, and in addition to being able to deliver a balanced budget in the past, this city council has embraced the establishment of what we call a reserve policy.
And what is that exactly?
The reserve policy is, from my perspective, is twofold. One, it serves to, set aside a rainy day fund in the event of emergencies,
Okay.
as well as to help us establish the base for paying for capital projects. The other thing that the reserve policy does, especially with a change that the City Council made recently, as you know, Terranea Resort opened up a year ago.
Yes.
And as you may know, we received transit occupancy tax
Correct.
from Terranea, and it's substantial.
Yes.
It's at a level of about $2.5 million a year currently. And the City Council embraced the idea of taking that transit occupancy tax revenue and making a decision each year as to what portion of it, hopefully all, we can transfer to the capital improvement program
Interesting.
to satisfy our capital project needs, anything from roadways, storm drain, sewers, and even our own facilities, including our park facilities.
One of the things I wanted to add to what Dennis has said is that his job has become more challenging in the last couple of years,
Absolutely.
especially because, not only because of the economy, but because of the state. He has to watch state legislation and see where the state might be wanting to raid local revenues.
Right.
And so he has to make that the council aware of that. He has to go ahead and account for that in the budget, and that could affect how the budget comes out from year to year. So that's another thing that he has to watch that is very important to our city.
And I think people sort of tend to wonder, there's all this bulk of money, and how do you divvy it up for different projects? So that's something that I'm sure that you're looking at all the time.
That's right. I touched upon a capital improvement plan. It's a 5-year document. It's a working document. It's a document that changes as priorities change.
Right.
And one of the facets that we're going through now is an update of that 5-year capital improvement plan. And we'll deliver it to the City Council with the 5-year financial model at about the same time that they are considering the budget for the next year.
Wow, it's a lot of information. A lot of information. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us and giving us more information about budgets and how things work here in our city. And I'm sure we'll have you back on again very soon. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Marie.
And for more information, you can always go to palaceverdes.com/RPV. I'm Maria Sorreo, and we'll see you next time on City Talk.